How many people does it take to operate a truck? If you want to get into the business of operating a truck, being an owner operator, that operating part is a big part of this equation. Yes, a truck must have a driver, okay? But without loads and without people keeping up with the business and making sure that the truck stays in compliance and has all the permits and there's somebody to take care of the maintenance and the billing, there's no load for the driver to haul. If you're a driver and you want to be an owner, you better understand that all of these other responsibilities are yours. You can't, well, I'm just the driver. Well, those days are over. You're not just a driver anymore. Now you're a load planner, a dispatcher, a bookkeeper. You've got to keep up with all the compliance, make sure the truck's legal. You have to be able to manage the maintenance, which is a big one. And then somehow you've got to get paid, right? You've either got to do it by leasing to a carrier, let them handle that, or if you want to be the full-on owner-operator, well, then you're going to have to not only negotiate the rates, but you're also going to have to make sure that you get paid. And there's a lot of shippers that want 30, 60, 90, even 180-day terms. They want you to do the load today, and they want you to get paid for it 6 months later. Now, one thing you can do to lessen the risk and lessen the load is you can lease to a carrier that has a whole department that takes care of billing and a whole department that takes care of compliance. And they also do all the sales work for you. That's what we have at Landstar. We've got 1,400 agents that go out and knock on doors and get freight. I don't have to spend a single minute of my time doing any of that. Now, we still have to do proper bookkeeping because this is a business. We still have to dispatch, and we have to load plan, and we have to take care of the maintenance. But I don't spend a minute of my day worrying about billing or compliance because there's people that take care of that. We scan the paperwork and we get paid. See, this is one of the things I'm trying to get you truck drivers to understand. Yes, a skilled driver is needed to move a truck from point A to point B, from the shipper to the receiver. Nobody's debating that. But you cannot, under any circumstances, discard or devalue the work that is being done by all of those other people. And I see in the comments, the driver does 90% of the work. No, they don't. Probably somewhere between 30 and 40% of the work is what the driver does. And that varies, right? If you're pulling a van, you're probably doing 25% of the work. If you're doing oversized and heavy haul, pulling a tanker, even some reefer stuff, you're in that 35, 40% range of the work that's actually being done. But you're sitting behind the wheel holding a steering wheel, pulling a van trailer. About 25% of the entire thing is what you're doing. Because without all those other people, you don't have freight to haul. Without the salespeople and the load planners and the dispatchers, and then the people coordinating the maintenance when you have something go wrong. And I've watched it time and time and time again that someone becomes a new owner operator and they don't know a hubcap from a radiator cap. And when there is a problem, and there's going to be problems, you will have problems, you will have breakdowns, things out of your control are going to happen. How are you, now the owner, now the person with all of the responsibility on top of your shoulders, how are you going to handle that? Because there's not anybody else. You made a choice to take on all of those other responsibilities. So now you are the driver. Now you are the coordinator. You are the planner. You are the dispatcher. You are the salesperson. You are the maintenance coordinator. You're in charge of making sure every single responsibility is now on you. See, those of us that are on the other side, okay, I have been a company driver and nothing more. Then I went to operating a truck. Then went back to being an employee, and now I'm on the executive side. Those of us that have made it through all the way to the other side, we take exception when you, truck driver, start devaluing and dehumanizing the work of all of the other people in the industry that makes your job possible. Okay? I don't want to hear y'all whining about sleeping in trucks. Y'all, I've slept in trucks more nights in my 20 plus years than I've probably slept at home. I still haven't caught up, and I may never catch up. Even though I've been off the road 4 years, I still may never make that equal where I'm at home as many nights as I was on the road for over 20 years. It's part of the job. If you don't like it, go do something else. But stop virtue signaling and whining like you're carrying the weight of the world's sins on your shoulders because you slept in a truck. Congratulations. If you want to be an owner operator, there are so many people like us that will give you the information that we have learned, lots of times the hard way, to say, okay, well, here's best practices. Here's 10 things you should absolutely do in business, and here's 10 things you absolutely should not do in business. Well, when we get to that list of things that you shouldn't do, probably ought to listen, because we've learned the hard way. And we're trying to give you information with which you can make a better decision. That's what makes us different from these narcissistic sociopaths that are trying to lead you down the yellow brick road to Oz and go talk to the president to fix your circumstances somehow. They ain't gonna happen. You're gonna fix your circumstances. You're the only person on this planet that can do that. Please stop falling for these scams and schemes that are made by people that just want to be your savior. They don't really want to help you. They just want all of the accolades and wealth that comes from being your provider. Be your own provider. It's a whole lot more peaceful.